Hello and once again welcome to the Las Vegas National Horse Show. We've had an incredible few days so far. We're here at the South Point Hotel and we've seen some great national and international sport. This afternoon though we are looking ahead to the $50,000 Las Vegas National Winning Rounds Jumper Classic presented Park Place Foundation. Some great names coming forward today. We'll have a look at the start list in just a couple of minutes' time. If you've been enjoying the coverage of the last few days, you'll have seen some great wins from some of the biggest names in North America. You can see Richard Spooner on screen there, and he had a great win on one of our opening competitions. And he is featuring in this one as well as the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Las Vegas, which we'll feature later on this afternoon. We're in for some great jumping and a very strong field today with a total combinations coming forward of 38. Winning round format of show jumping, so all our combinations come forward in the first round, and it is the top 10 or all clears that will progress through to that winning round against the clock a little bit later on. They do back in reverse order of merit, and of course we'll keep you up to date. I'm Adam Cromarty. Sitting alongside me today is Oliver Kennedy. Oliver, this has been a great event so far this week.
The competition has been the highest level. It's amazing how fast the classes have been. The speed classes have been outrageous. The jump-offs have been very exciting so far this week, and I think the competition is going to prove to be the same today.
Well, we know we've got 39 combinations, and there's our start list. When you look at the names on there, there's people like Eric Neve, who's represented his country at Olympic level, and even the young riders like Hunter Holloway, who have been on absolute fire recently.
Tina Yates has been doing quite well here as well. This was kind of her breakout FEI show last year. Jenny McAllister, always a strong competitor as well.
Looking forward to that second screen. Carrie refer Caitlin Campbell and Rocky W, that horse that she knows inside out that she had a win with in one of our earlier international competitions here this week. Hugh Much, Jenny McAllister, as you mentioned, Oliver, she's always one to watch, and that horse is one that she's had the ride off for quite a while.
Lauren Crooks had a horse that I thought a new horse was very interesting that we saw the other night. Andy Coker is always a strong competitor, a winner of the World Cup class here on the West Coast just a few weeks ago.
Richard Spooner, you've got Carl Cooks, and then another of the young riders, Jen Gates. We saw her in the under-25 final, one of the national competitions yesterday. We've seen her jump internationally this week as well. Mark Grock.
Yeah, Jen won the U25 national championships at the National Horse Show a couple weeks ago. Was great in Central Park. Has been such a strong competitor.
And there's the last of them, and of course they've got a chance to watch the first few come forward before they start their warm-up this afternoon. But don't forget, when we come back for that winning round, it is guaranteed. It is definitely 10 that will come back. They start on reverse order of merit, and they come back on a clean score as well. So if we end up taking someone through on a time fault or 4 faults, they come back clean. But there's the man with all the pressure today.
Oscar Soberon of Mexico has been doing a fabulous job here this week. He's been testing it quite enough, but no really tricky parts. He's been spreading the rails all around the ring, but it's not been easy going for these riders.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he's got in store for this afternoon's Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier, and I can't wait to see what he's got in store for this competition as well. Backstage, of course, our athletes just making their final preparations, getting ready to come forwards here. They've got to hopefully stay clear to guarantee a place in that winning round, but will we take one through on a time fault or perhaps even on 4 faults? We'll find out. But that's the great thing about this format of show jumping, because we know that they are guaranteed to have a kind of jump-off style second round. It is against the clock. And we'll keep you up to date with how those rules work as things progress. Let's get underway though, and we are going to start in the United States of America. One of the younger riders in the field today is Hunter Holloway and Eastern Jam. Now, she's been building up a terrific string recently. This horse has only been jumping internationally for about 4 or 5 events. It's just an 8-year-old by Lexicon called Eastern Jam. Hunter Holloway goes first.
Hunter, although she's not the oldest rider in our field, one of the younger ones today, she was the Maclay champion last year, won the Washington Equitation Championships. She's ridden on the European Tour, made a developing rider tour a few years ago, and not coming from the huge money families that some of these riders done. When she wanted to make that team, she figured out how to earn the money to pay, get the international experience, and she's a really hard-working kid.
Well, let's take a look then at the track that we have today.
First fence is the Longines Oxer. They'll take a little bit of a bending line as they head up right to the gate to the North American League fence, which is number 2. Then they roll, jump way up. The rider's going to want to ride a little forward to that to come out over B at the vertical. Number 4 is up the corner, the guitar fence. Then they come across the diagonal of the ring. Number 5, the Butterfly Oxer. Holding 5 for her to the triple combination of 1 to a 2 coming out over the Oxer. Vertical to the Oxer at the triple. Circle around to the viaduct wall at number 7. 8 and 9. Skinny vertical coming out over the Oxer. Then they roll head across the diagonal. It's an Oxer to a very careful plank as they come up to number 11, the white plank. And then a bit of bending line here as they come right to the gate to the vertical, a white rail over the top to the final jump.
So 68.24, that's the time. 69 seconds is the time allowed in the competition today. She's guaranteed a place in that winning round after jumping clear as our first to go. Hunter Holloway there for the United States of America getting us underway. And I have to say, she made that look rather easy.
Yeah, she did. She came in 69.24, 71 the time allowed. So, they can't go much further than that.
Well, Justin Prather joins us now, the first of our international from outside the United States. He's from Canada, and it's a 9-year-old mare called Amy that he brings forward. It's a new horse for him. We normally see him jump horses like Bolero HX, one that he took to Thunderbird for the World Cup there, and jumped to Spruce Meadows over the summertime. Gets off to a very good start, just keeping that rhythm. There are some really challenging lines out there today. I know Hunter made it look quite easy, but she's such a talented rider.
The time allowed actually is 69, and the Hunter's time was 68.24, so a bit snug on that time allowed. Oh, it's in deep to number 5. Curls up over 6A and B, gets the back rail of C.
It's quite a committed line, that one.
Yeah, he got so deep, he really did. He had hit that right on stride, and that combination, he just didn't have the scope to get out over it. Looks like he's going to call it a day here.
We'll see. I mean, that decision, of course, based on the horse that you're riding, isn't it? And whether it needs that experience, or whether you just want to maybe pop a fence and come out on a good note, or... Not sure if he's giving his signal to the jury yet, because that clock is still ticking. But he decides to jump that one, and I think he's going to just call it a day now. Yeah. He gives his horse a nice pat, pops it back in the stable, and I'm sure we're going to see it do good things, because he has produced horses over the years that have gone on to do some great championship events.
So 1 clear, and Hunter Holloway leads it off with a clear ride. Take a look there as he gets really deep into that butterfly fence, and that really just started the problem, because he could not step up enough to make it through the combination and then have enough fire to come out at C. He just got in there. This made this ride really long. He could not get across the back of that Oxer.
Well, we come back now to the United States of America, a combination that finished 3rd together in the Blenheim Welcome Jumper Classic earlier in the week here at the Las Vegas National Horse Show. It's a 12-year-old stallion called Arthur Sarr with Richard Spooner aboard for the United States of America. It's a really exciting horse for him. He finished top 6 in the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Calgary at the Royal West Horse Show just a few weeks ago with this one. Some really good placings at other events such as Spruce Meadows as well over the summertime.
Richard's very good at bringing along horses. He's got a whole young string that he's been bringing up, trying to bring up the successor, trying to find out who will be the successor to Cristallo. Right now is number 1 mount, who's getting the week off. And I've seen a pretty impressive group of horses that he's been bringing along.
I know when we spoke to him the other day, he said he was super excited about this one. You can see just how scopy and careful it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that Oscar's done is he's making the course, the tests are in there, and part of that test of that line from 5 to 6A, B, and C is you have to hit it just right, or you have to have the most amazing scopy horse to make up for that. Richard making this look easy.
Well, 66-40 this on there for the USA's Richard Spooner and Arthur Sarr. So, of course, they are in a place in that winning round. And as we start to develop those clears, of course, the times are important because they will come back in reverse order of merit. So, 66.40 is the time for Richard. Our other clear, Hunter Holloway, sitting on 68.24. So, at the moment, Hunter would come first back into that winning round, and Richard would be behind Town in that pole position. Such an exciting prospect, that horse. Now on to a man who's represented his country Olympic level on numerous occasions. He's ridden at the World Equestrian Games. It is Eric Neve who comes with the 11-year-old by Quasimodo Z, Basimodo, representing France.
Eric's been having a very good week here. Right up on the top of it, always in the hunt and the top placings so far this week.
And if you are watching on the Horse Network Facebook Live or wherever you're watching on Facebook Live, because it's already been shared 51 times to different pages, do get involved with the conversation. Let us know where you're watching from, and also any comments, good luck messages or questions. Do keep those coming in as things progress. Having seen a couple, is there any lines in particular that you think we're going to see cause more issues than others?
I think the trouble spot right now is you having to hit this the diagonal across the line from 5 to the triple combination that Eric's coming up to right now.
Yeah, if you jump in too long or too short over the first part of the Oxer.
Yep, V comes down at the triple combination.
The other interesting thing about the winning round format is if you do have a rail, you might just see them put the pedal down a bit, because who knows, a fast 4 falter might just make it into the top 10, and of course that would be good enough to bring them back. And when they do come back, they come back on a 0 score. It's a level playing field. It's a format I really like.
Eric with 1 jump to go, unfortunate rare in the triple at the B element. Eric Neve from France finishing up his ride on Basimodo.
So he finishes on 4, 66.16. That's actually the fastest time that we've seen so far. So again, depending on how many clears we get and whether we have to look to the 4 faults, he is still in with a chance. He won't be popping that one away quite yet.
Jumping in, he jumped in a little bit long, which put him in kind of deep to the B element, just couldn't get the front legs up, and then easily comes out over C.
You can see Carrie Ruther now standing by. She's bringing a 12-year-old stallion by Clinton called Clapton forward. Now, she finished top 3 at the World Cup event at Sacramento. Probably best at the moment for Georgie Dowry. She's also got Mai Tai too. Really has been developing her string. Took all those horses, in fact, to Thunderbird for their World Cup event up in Langley. An athlete who's progressed up through the young riders, now into the top level sport. She's got a couple of horses here with us as well. We saw a Mai Tai place 4th yesterday or the day before.
If you watch the way Eric Neve and the last rider rode just forward up to that triple bar, jumping into the combination, that set him up nice to come out. She kind of had that same ride. Whoa, holding up to try and add one in to get through this tight. And then come out over the back rail. Yeah, if they hold up to get in there tight, the problem is they still got to get out from B to C over that Oxer. Bit of a rub. She got lucky there. Plank comes down at 11.
Yeah, you need the power to get in over that oxer. It's got a water tray underneath as well, which can affect things. But then you've really got to sit up and use your upper body coming down towards that very delicate plank that sits on a completely flat cut. But in the end, it is for 66.29. So again, not a bad time. Faster time than our two clears that we have at the moment. So that slides down into fourth place. Two clears. Eric Neve, the fastest of the fours. Carrie Rufer sitting in fourth place. Miri is still saying she likes this format. Kylie Walsing, great sportsmanship. Happy to see that if they get a rail, they don't get mad at their horse. And I think these athletes in here are at the top of the sport. They love these horses. They spend from morning to night with them. And this is Tina Yates that comes next now. Durango VDL, the 9-year-old stallion by VDL Zirocco Blue. And this is an event she really likes. She's been successful here.
Had a great year last year. Kind of broke out, was her breakout moment in the World Cup class. She had a top 3 placing here. Did very well in the U25 last year. Now aged out of that division.
She's got old.
Yeah.
Not compared to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, she's finished second at Blenheim this year. You know, went well at Show Park. Covers nicely.
Nicely. Just curls over that oxer coming out of the triple. Very spooky jump. This one, the younger horses tend to look down at the culverts. She was leading the U20 or the Markel Meter 40 series on another one of her horses. Took the leading rider honors for that. I'm sure she'd like to take home a nice check here today.
Well, 66.66 and all the way for Tina Yates. So she is the second fastest of the 3 clears at this stage. 6 gone. 3 combinations going clear, and having watched the first 6, I think we're going to be taking the clears only through to that winning round. I don't think we'll have to look to the faults.
And that's one thing that the riders are going to start at this point. They're still early in the field going to start riding forward, so they want to make sure that if they do have a rail, they're going to be one of the fastest horses and possibly can make it in. Once we get up closer to that maximum number of 10 for the riders, you're going to see, then they're going to start slowing up, just trying to make sure they're clear.
Changes the whole format.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy involved in this that's different from a normal type of a jump-off class.
Kitty Van Alsen says, grey is the new black. Angie Otts, geez, the last grey, OMG. Plenty more still to come as well as Jenny McAllister joins us now for the United States of America. This is another of the young horses we're going to see here today. It's just an 8-year-old, this one, by the famous stallion Staccato. It's called Sweet Chocolate PJ. Jenny, who first started riding at the age of 6 months. Of course, her older sister was involved with the sport as well. And she's been competing at World Cup final level quite recently as well with athletes. It was out in Omaha, Nebraska earlier this year, and already finishing top 6 with, her Legis horse, Touch the Sun, in the World Cup series at venues such as Del Mar. Now, for those that are quite early in the order and can't come down and watch themselves, do you think we'll have someone out there just keeping an eye on things and feeding some information back to them?
Oh, most definitely. And, the riders are very helpful amongst themselves. They'll go to somebody, another rider, and ask, how did this line ride? What do you think on my horse? They all kind of know how each other's horses go.
I know they're all super competitive backstage and in the warm-up. They're actually all really great friends as well. Well, most of them.
Oh! Kind of got a little shifted left, came back, or shifted right, came back left.
Wiggled.
Yeah.
She rode that line fantastically well.
It was a nice recovery by
she's got to be happy with herself there. 68.47. You can see, she just really used her upper body through that distance just to bring it back and find a stride. Now, she is the slowest of the clears, but that doesn't matter too much. It will just affect her starting order in the winning round. So 68.47, clear round number 4 comes from Jenny McAllister. Big pat for her horse as she heads on out there, and we can see a horse that you really like, Oliver. This one called Billy Mexico, bred by the Billy Stud in Great Britain, and it's a 12-year-old stallion by Kevin Zed, Vanny Koshla for the USA.
This one jumped around so beautifully the other night in our U25 championship, or in the Markel Series championship, and really has a ton of scope. I just love this horse's jumping style.
It's interesting because some horses, when you get them, it takes a while for you to sort of gel with them, get to know them. But really, as soon as Vanny sat on this and started competing internationally, she went to places like Spruce Meadows. That was
kind of got away
there
from her just a little bit.
And I was going to say there, she started placing right away at venues such as Spruce Meadows, but it's not like them, to be honest. I think she was quite sensible there, just to pop in a circle and get rebalanced. And
yeah. All right, whoa. She's going to blast out this B if she doesn't curl up. This horse is so clever. Just roll back on his hocks, curled up, got over B.
With her in this horse, I think it's going to be really interesting to see where they're at in a year's time.
Well, now she's really trying to pick up the speed here, and that's what caught her that second rail. She's up to 12 now.
So at this point, it comes down to just trying to give it a nice ride through the finish. She knows she's no longer in contention to come back. 75.25, a total of 14 for Vanny Koshla representing the USA with Billy Mexico. So we're going to stay on the 4 clears at this stage. We've got Richard Spooner, T. Yates, Hunter Holloway, Jenny McAllister. You can see just kind of paddled a little bit and almost kind of panicked with the back legs.
Such a trier. She got there long, and he tried to make every effort. Supermaning it there, the front legs up and away. And
it's got a huge heart, that horse.
Yeah.
Sarah Shearing comes next, and this is a 15-year-old mare called Newton Jumping Jack by Porter Roads. Kathy Gowler's watching in Quebec, Canada. Susie Lynn Wonder says sweet ride, and Alex Fazio says love this horse. Don't forget, if you are watching on Facebook, do get involved with that conversation as things progress. A lot left to go as well, about 38 partnerships left to join us here in this winning round format.
Sarah Shearing, she was back east for a while, riding out of New Jersey, and now is based out here on the West Coast. Taking down the back rail of the triple bar. A of the triple combination coming down, and C bookending it. And the wave from Sarah. She's going to elect to call it a day with the 3 rails down early on.
And I was just thinking, I wondered if she would do that, and I think that boils down to what horse you've got in this, because if you're on something that, isn't a young horse, isn't really in here just to gain experience, if you are riding competitively, it's the end of the season, and I think you've just got to finish on as a note as you can and just call it a day, really.
Yeah, it is the end of, like you said, the end of the season, the end of the campaign, and this is the last class that these horses are going in. They're not going to be going tonight in the World Cup class.
So as we know, top 10 are all clears progressing through. 4 clears at this stage. A couple of fast 4 falters as well. Eric Neve, the fastest of the 4s. Carrie Ruther also sitting on 4 at this stage. Jill Prideaux comes next. Zed Love Story. It's a 10-year-old mare by Hunter. And Jill's an interesting one because we first saw her compete internationally back in 2011, a couple of times in 2012, and then kind of disappeared for a few years, but now coming back with her campaign.
Well, she was back working with a group of young horses on the East Coast, and now back here on the West Coast for about the last couple of years.
This one's been placing top 10. We saw it at Sacramento, and this is one she's going to be producing up as well. You know, she first brought this out in November last year at this show. This was their first event together, jumping internationally last year. So they've been out and about for about a year now, with some really nice placings.
Whoa, really carried that rail all the way from the back rail.
And after doing that, I don't think there was any way to recover into the second part.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to call it a day as well. And again, really sensible, I think, because that's a nice young horse. She's been producing it carefully. And today there wasn't just, you know, any point of just pushing it on around there. So Jill Prito elects to retire. You can see there she came in and just carried that, landed long. She tried to push for the distance and then just took out that front rail as she landed there a little bit earlier than she'd hoped on the approach. So we're going to stay on those clears as Robert Blachette comes next. Over the last couple of years he's had some super horses. They're always turned out immaculately. The one he brings today is a 10-year-old actually. This is a gelding called Coppice. Robert Blachette for Ireland.
By Kudukor. Now the ring crew getting everything put back together from our last horse.
He's taken that opportunity to have a real good look round before he gets that tone. And of course, for those that are a little bit new to the sport, you hear that tone as we just heard in the background. Then they have 45 seconds to cross the start line, and if they don't cross the start line, then the clock will start, and that can start to affect things like the time allowed. This is a horse that he's only competed quite lightly internationally. He brought it out for the first time here at Las Vegas last year, but he also rode it as part of the Nations Cup team for Ireland at Thunderbird in Langley earlier this year.
All of a sudden the triple bar here coming into the combination has become a problem for the last few horses. Thinking about that triple bar, and yeah, you just have to come in right at the right lick and hit it just dead on so you don't land out too deep into the combination or land in too shallow.
Absolutely.
Sort of the same test he set up jumping down from the butterflies into the triple.
Nicely through there. This is a line I thought would cause more issue than it has so far.
He's on 4 right now. He had the 3B down, so he's coming home on 4.
And he will finish on the 4 today. 66.10 and 4 faults for him. Now that is a fast time, and it is the fastest of the 4 faulters. So it will push him down into like 6th place at this stage, with the top 10 are all clears, progressing through to that winning round later on.
Watch him, he really kind of hung up over there, and Robert had to do everything just to kind of help it out, sat back up and wound up punching out the B element of that double.
Yeah, you can see him just using his upper body there to try and help him out as best as he possibly could, but in the end it wasn't just quite good enough. So we sit on the 4 clears at this stage. Evan Robar says it's a tough course. Pam Johnson says that she loved that last grey. Carrie Rutherford next for the USA, Mai Tai. Carrie, who we saw a little bit earlier with that first ride. And this is the horse that finished 4th in the other ranking class here earlier in the week. She was really unlucky with the first one, just had 4 faults, currently sits 7th with that. Out of the two of them, though, if I had to pick one to take home, I think it would be this one.
You got your horse trailer here?
This one's got great personality. Just a little bit long through the distance.
3A and B is really starting to be a problem. I think it's kind of gotten in the riders' minds a little bit here now. They're either coming in overriding or underriding at the triple bar coming into that combination.
And that's an interesting test, because on a week-to-week basis, we don't really see that configuration too often with a triple bar coming down to an upright.
Yeah, the trick is you'd still just got to ride right up at it, because it's going to make the horse back off and jump up. If you ride too fast at it, they're going to land way out. If they ride too slow at it, they're just not going to clear the back rail of the triple bar.
It's a real thinking question, that
Yeah.
one. That's what I like about this course designer. He really designs questions that makes the riders think, but there's nothing out there that's trappy. It's 8 faults today. It is 64.29 there for Carrie Ruther, sitting 7th with the first ride and 8th with this one. 4 clears. Richard Spooner, Tina Yates, Hunter Holloway, and Jenny McAllister. So you're just trying and just stands off there. So we're going to stay on those 4 clears at this stage. 24 combinations left to come forward. Laura Height standing by, about to get underway. Calypso van der Zuthove. This is a 9-year-old gelding by Tangalo van der Zuthove, with Thunder van der Zuthove on the dam side. There's a lot of Zuthove in there.
Oh, yes.
Gotta love a bit of Zuthove on a Saturday. After we start to see 1 or 2 more, I think we're going to have a real idea of that top 10, because at the moment, you know, those are on 14 faults are still in with a chance of coming through, but that's certainly going to change.
She rode through the 3A and B test very well. That's one of those things, you had a plan going into it, you got to stick with that plan. A lot of the riders are starting to get it into their mind, thinking about it too much, second guessing how they're going to ride those 2 lines.
I think that's a real trap. You know, when you walk the course and you think about how you're going to ride, although you watch a few, I think you've got to try and push out some of that out of your mind.
Well, takes down 10, punching out the back rail.
Not bad, 67, 61, and just 4 there for Laura. So she goes down into 8th place at the moment. Vanny Koshla sitting on the cutoff in 10th on 40. Let's take another look.
Just to get over the back of that oxer.
So remaining on the 4 clears at this stage here in the competition. Don't forget as well, if you are watching on Facebook Live, then you can get involved. Bethany Carroll says, great ride. Melody says, love this gelding. And Lauren Allen, shoot, so close. Oh, she really was.
If you want to follow along with the scoring, you can go to longinetiming.com. Click on equestrian. You'll see the icon for Las Vegas National. And just scroll on down to Saturday and look at the live class and click on that. And you can see the live scoring and everything as we go.
And the start list as well, because we've got some really good ones coming near the end. Joey Gatlin's been on great form. Andy Coker, who we're also going to see in that Longines FEI World Cup jumping qualifier later on. The young rider Jen Gates still to come. Carl Cook, Richard Spooner has got some nice horses. I think we saw him earlier. We'll see him back with another one. Lauren Crooks, John Perez. There's a lot of big names still to come, and I still think, if I'm looking at my crystal ball, that we're not going to be looking to the 4 falters to make up that top 10. I think we might even see more than 10. And in this format, it is top 10 or all clear. So we could take, 11 or 12 through to that winning round. The order is starting as they come back, is decided by the fault time. So if we bring them back only on clears, then they'll be decided by the time. So you can see Richard Spooner, Tina Yates, Hunter Holloway and Jenny McAllister. Robert Blachette is in 5th, Eric Neve in 6th place at this stage. So that's our top 6 at the moment. Also in the top 10, Carrie Ruffer, Laura Height, Carrie with her other rider, she's got 2 at the moment, and then Van Koshla with that lovely Billy horse that just had a bit of an unlucky ride today. So our next rider just making their final preparations to come forward and join us here. $50,000 in the prize fund. So as well as that prize money, this is also a world ranking class as well. And that's important for these riders, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it gets them qualified for the bigger events, helps them get qualified for teams, maybe get on the radar of the coordinators for the U.S. teams, of Robert Ridland and Diane Langer. And so also, when it gets time to the winter circuits and bigger 5-star shows, and you want to get into the 4- and 5-star events, and they have limited numbers, it's all done off your world rankings.
Absolutely. I have to say, Robert Ridland's been doing a great job with the US team.
Just the depth of the U.S. riders right now. I mean, his plan of pairing up younger riders with more seasoned riders, and a lot of these Nations Cups has gotten some of our younger riders some great experience. And we'll see tonight when we come back for the World Cup class, when we watch some of these riders that have come out here that were on those teams, like Kat Tyree, who did very well for the U.S. this year. Callan Solom has been moving into the team events on a lot of occasions now. Alison Robitaille back in the hunt. Heather Caristo came out from the East Coast as well, and she'll be riding tonight in the World Cup.
Well, let's get ourselves back underway, shall we? If you have just joined us, we sit on 4 clears. Top 10 are all clear, making it through to the winning round. They'll be starting in reverse order of merit, and it looks like it is Jenny McAllister.
No, that looks like Michelle Parker.
Ah, they've swapped. Okay, let's go to Michelle Parker then, shall we? Vancouver's next. 10-year-old gelding by Valentino. I think they just try and catch us out, you know. Luckily, you pay attention. Pam Johnson said this is better than watching cable TV. Rand Sophie says Calypso made it look so easy. Yeah, Calypso's a lovely horse. Definitely one to look out for.
Vancouver has been doing quite well. Michelle always bringing up a good group of horses, and Vancouver is one that she's been showing for a bit of time. She had a great show here last year, based out of Arizona.
She had to work just to stay straight around there. It looked like he was just kind of drifting through that left shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
Come down that one. Back bar off the oxer.
Goes for the quiet one, steps up into the combination. She went and got a little deeper into 5 so she could make it work for her. Coming through to the triple. You can see her picking it up a little bit because she wants to stay in that higher end of the 4 falters, so hopefully she can eke out a place into the top 10.
Well, the time's going to be good for her. 62.82, finishes on the 4 faults, and she is the fastest of the 4s. So we've got the 4 clears. Michelle Parker fastest to the 4s, then Robert Blachette, Eric Neve, Carrie Ruffer, Laura Height, Carrie's second horse on 8 faults to make up that top 10, and she didn't quite make it across the oxer there. You know, that's a nice horse. She's had good results on that one. John Perez coming forward next. C. Valence, it's the 10-year-old gelding by name Lassar. He's just asking for a rail to be rolled there. They also have a good look around, and anything that looks like it might be knocked in the last one, or if they spot anything, they can ask the ring crew just to have a little check. John Perez, one of the athletes that we see pretty much all over the place. Represents Colombia.
Always competitive.
And I think probably best known for Utopia.
Yeah.
The horse he took to the World Cup finals. You know, now he's got this one, he's got a mare, he's got Extra Minkis, who had a good win down in Mexico earlier this month. I think at this level they really need a string, don't they?
You know, the number of events there are now and the traveling they do, you know, you have to give them some time off and rotate them around a bit. So it really is important if you want to stay at the upper level to have a bit of a string and be bringing along the young horses. 6A comes down for John.
Yeah, first part of that triple combination. Seems having to work a little bit.
He's been on that forward track though. He's going pretty efficient trying to.
Again, just using the upper body, taking a little check down to the last. Finishes on 4, 63.11 is the time. Second fastest of the 4 falters goes into 6th place. So at the moment it's all our clears, 4 of those, and then the 6 on 4 that make up the top 10. You can see him just kind of fighting a little bit down from the Oxer into the triple combination there on the replay. And although I said my crystal ball thought they would get about 12 clears in this, you know, riders have got to keep thinking, what if we can get through on a fast 4-fault round? Because it's a minimum of 10 that are heading through today. So they're going to keep that in the back of their mind if a rail comes down. And still at the moment, they might be thinking about, you know, riding forwards, just in case they have a rail on course. Keeping that time in the back of their mind. Regis Venice next. The 12-year-old mare by Nexon. It is Jenny McAllister. She's dropped down a couple in the order, and I think that's because, you know, we've had a few scratches in this, and that meant that her 2 horses were quite close together. So the other ones will have elected to move up and just give her a little bit more time to make sure they're organised, because these horses are a little bit like human athletes, and you do need to warm them up correctly. So they'll have a little go on the flat, and then they've got some practice fences out there in the warm-up as well. And Jenny's an athlete who we saw in the World Cup finals in Omaha, Nebraska earlier in the year. Out of the 2 horses she's had, she probably knows this one a little bit better, I would say. The top 3 finish with this horse in Sacramento just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, nice ride so far. Let's see how she gets into this line here. Got a little deep, took down the front rail of number 5 and B of the triple and C.
Bethany Carroll's saying the course designer is really making them work for it, and I think they've got to. You know, it's a winning round format, so he knows he's going to get 10 through anyway. But this is a world ranking competition, so world ranking points are awarded. There's $50,000 in the prize fund.
Yeah, and there's a standard that they have to have the course set to. So.
It's 12 faults for her today, 71.94, so just outside that cut-off. 12 for jumping in one time, 71.94.
And she was very deliberate of the way she went around the course today. If you watch, she gets in just a little bit deep, doesn't get the front legs up over the front rail. And they're all trying to make it so they get a little deep. Hopefully that makes this line ride a little bit easier coming into the triple, because it is a bit snug and there is no leave out there, because if you go and try and leave the stride going down to that combination, you're definitely going to take it down.
Well, Chris Carr says her horse is gorgeous. April Moses says the course is excellent. Brain teaser, absolutely. And Shelley Steele just says, hello, hello. Plenty more still to come here. 17 partnerships left to go. Staying on those 4 clears. I think our course designer has really got it spot on today. Lauren Criggs now with Valentino. Another horse that jumped earlier this week. This is just an 8-year-old as well. And one that she's really been producing up the grades. Now jumping nicely around the 145 and 150 competitions. It's got a real forward pace.
Oh, nice.
You can see her just steady on approach there, just to help with that distance as they landed.
Yeah, Oscar, the course designer, is really making these riders. It's a thinking riders course. You've got tests of them going forward, tests where they have to bring the horse back, really testing the horse's rideability.
So still just sitting on the 4. This horse is a relatively new one for her internationally, bringing it out at Calgary for Royal West for the first time.
Back rail comes down on 10. Home on 8 as she comes to the final jump.
Yeah, clears that final upright, so 8 is the total, and it is 67.06. We know that cut-off in 10th place at the moment is 4 faults. It's all clears and all those on 4, making up the top 10 at this stage. Melody says it's an amazing young horse. Carl Johnson says beautiful. Again, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can get involved with the conversation, but coming down that combination made a real nice job.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you saw out of that horse that she can take on, knowing what her horse has done for finishing up the year.
Yeah, and that's only about her 6th international competition with us. I don't think she'll be too disappointed. Moving on now to Jennifer Jones, Virginia WZ, the 11-year-old mare, representing the USA.
Now we'll see Jenny's husband coming up right after her. This Jen married to Andy Coker. He was a very successful junior rider. Was a professional for a bit of time, and then now back to being an amateur.
I think that's difficult working husband and wife, because you're kind of in that situation. You know, Rachel Kennedy, your wife is a trainer and a rider, and
yeah, we have different parts of the business. I think it's a little harder probably for people who spend 24 hours a day. They're both riding and training horses and, you know, competing all the time. We're a little different. Luckily for me, we have our area, each have our own area of the business.
Well, Jenny recovering well there. Hopefully we'll be able to see that refusal again in a replay and take a bit of a closer look.
Takes the front rail down on 5. She's going to have to reach up to get over the C and does not make it up over the front rail. A little regrouping here.
Yeah, it's a sensible decision there. Decides to retire Jenny Jones and Virginia. 15 combinations left to go. Do you agree that we're going to see enough clears to fill up that top, or do you think we're going to take?
I think we still have some clears to come. I think we'll probably get up, maybe not to 10. It might be the 1 or 2 4-faulters get in, but I think you're gonna see 8, at least 8 clear.
And of course, as we mentioned, if they do come back on a 4-fault score, then they will start on a clean slate. But they come back in reverse order of merit. Andy Coker comes forward next. The 10-year-old Bijou de Pont-Rion represents the USA.
Horse of McLean Wards that Andy's just been riding here for just a short period of time. 10-year-old gelding by Radko Doutveld.
Love this horse's face markings. Very unique. Do you think it adds any pressure on knowing that McLean Ward owns this horse, and quite possibly he'll be watching it right now? Do you think that adds any pressure on for Andy?
Andy, not maybe some riders, not Andy. Andy is
he's as cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, I mean, he just goes out there, does his thing. If he has a bad day, you know, he'll come right back around on the next horse and do well. You know.
It's getting a little bit long through there. You can see it getting longer and longer and longer.
Well, he took down all 4 of the jumps in that line.
So now he's got to use that corner just to really rebalance, and you can see that.
I think you're going to see a wave here.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, out of contention.
It's a newer horse for Andy, and you know, really just getting ring miles, getting to know the horse.
There's some really nice ones over the years. He's had some great results in Quatre Mille. Artemazdu Hussein, Nevada de Ponthon, probably his most well-known horse at the moment.
Yeah, he's had his biggest wins on Nevada de Ponthon. They have just got so deep into all of them, couldn't hold them off the front rails or the verticals.
Susan Griffey's now with Indoctro, 9-year-old stallion.
Colorado-based rider, just outside of Denver, Palmer Divide Ranch. Her farm, owning the 9-year-old stallion by Indoctro.
And it's a relatively new one for her. She brought it out at the Winter Equestrian Festival, rode it there a couple of times, and we've not seen it internationally until now.
Yep, dropping the front rail of number 1.
Very well coordinated with the stirrups, the bonnet, jacket collar. Tackled that very nicely.
Well, let's see how she does on the toughest part of the exam.
A little rub coming in. Uses her upper body there. Comes out nicely. Just a little bit long coming in.
Yeah, that line from 5 to 6A is a very specific ride. Can't get there too short, can't get there too long.
So sits on 8 at this stage, coming round towards that final upright. Will finish on 8, 67.36 there. Susan Griffiths and Indoctro. But you know, very much just a sort of hobby for her really these days on the international circuit anyway. You know, she just loves the sport so much. And certainly not a terrible round by any stretch.
No, not at all.
Well, we continue on then to Richard Spooner, Kirado RC. Another of the younger horses that he's bringing through, and I have to say this is one I absolutely love because it goes in a simple snaffle. He leaves it alone to do its own thing, and when they go against the clock, this really can travel. Kirado RC and Richard Spooner next for the USA.
Yeah, when you look at this horse from here, it rides so late. It rides softest mouth. It does not ride like a horse that's 18 hands.
No.
It is a very big horse, but the way it goes around, you think it's a 16-hand horse, and it has all the scope, all of the bounce off the ground that you want, and he is so excited about this horse.
As well as all that ability, I mean, it just looks like a nice person, this horse. It's like a horse you could stick your granny on.
I mean, he rides it with the softest hand. Just
brought it out for the first time during the summer series at Spruce Meadows, and they finished top 10 in their first international competition together. They've had a win since then as well at Del Mar towards the end of October.
Took a win the other night here.
just an 8-year-old. I think this is going to be possibly his next top horse.
Yeah, I mean, just watch how he got out of that. I mean, didn't get into the line perfectly, but easily made it through. The horse has all the scope and all the range you would want.
Wendy Weisner says Richard is one of the nicest guys in the business. I think that's true, you know.
Always takes time out to talk to kids. Anybody asks him a question. He's a great ambassador for the sport. Easily done.
But one-time fault.
Well, that should, the way things are looking, put him right into the top 10 or right around.
Yeah, he's going to have a nervous weight, 70.14. So he sits in 5th place at the moment, and we know it is top 10 that comes back. We know they come back on a clean slate. We can see that horse getting the treat that all his horses do as they finish their rounds. If he makes it into the top 10, he will come back clear, and I think it'll go much faster in the winning round. We'll wait and see.
Well, you know, he's got to be really happy with that, with the 8-year-old that horse is.
Let's have a look at this mugshot of the next rider. This is always one that we look forward to seeing. Wait till it comes up, you'll see why. This is Carl Cook with Caillou.
Caillou.
Oh, is that cartoon character again?
Yeah. There you go. A face only a mommy can love. Carl has a great sense of humor. He loves that picture, though.
So he represents the USA. He competed at the World Cup finals. He's produced some very nice horses over the years and has such a unique style.
Oh. Up to the guitars. Sticks off the ground a little bit there, but it works out. Oh. Gonna have to push a little bit to get out.
It's nicely over the wall. Horse that was produced over in Germany. Carl brought it over to the US at summer 2016. Just taking a bit of power coming into the Liverpool, then sitting up for that distance.
One jump to go.
Goes round to the last. And he's clear.
Just under the 69.
68-69, time to perfection. He is the steadiest of the clears. And of course those times are important here in round 1 because they decide the starting order when they come back for that winning round against the clock. Jennifer Delaney says beautiful horse.
5 clear, time fault, the four falters, fast as the four fastest 4 falters. You say that 3 times fast.
It's a tongue twister, that one.
They right now round out the top 10.
Jen Gates is coming next then. 13-year-old called Alex. Just one of the horses that she has competing here this week. And you know, Jen's been building up over the last couple of years some real great international experience. All summer long on the Longines Global Champions Tour. Saw her in the under-25s yesterday.
She won the national championship in the under-25 2 weeks ago at the National Horse Show, the USEF National U25 Championship. Clear all the way through in that competition, a 3-phase competition that they held in Lexington, Kentucky.
Seen her jump this summer with Pumped Up Kicks with Luft de Cassesse as well. Now Alex starting to really place well.
Yeah, this one she picked up from Audrey Coulter at the about mid-summer.
And Audrey had been jumping it, you know, in the Grand Prix on the World Cup circuit.
It's a really, really nice horse, and they really have caught on together quite well.
Jen took over the ride from Audrey after Audrey jumped it in Paris. Jen then took it into Belgium. but then also to Thunderbird, and finished 5th quite recently as well in Sacramento. Another one that's just got such a nice seat, some real natural feel.
Well, one jump to go.
Come on, Jen, get up there.
Come on. There we go.
67.52. Third best so far, so that would give her a good starting order. The cutoff at the moment then is 4 faults and 66.10 for that top 10. All clears are 1 on a single time fault, and then 3 of the fastest 4 faulters to make up the top 10. One young talent to another. Tina Yates standing by, about to get underway, although she's now aged out of the young riders, but she's back with a second ride. This is a 10-year-old gelding by Kitoki called Capetillo. Tina Yates for the USA.
Tina and her husband Craig operate not only a training but a sales business as well. They've been we're based on the East Coast now, out here for the West Coast, and staying out here this year round, heading up to Spruce and some of the bigger events in the Western North American Tour.
This is a horse that was produced in Germany by Max Honsart, and also earlier in their career by Matthias Rasch of Austria. And now Tina Yates having the ride, and she has done since the beginning of the year. Started it off at the Winter Equestrian Festival. I think for a horse you're getting to know, places like WEF are so important because you can do so much in a short time. Yeah.
Same with, going up to Spruce, you can get a lot accomplished and a lot of road miles. Different rings, different course designers.
See that horse just falling in around the corner. She came down towards the Oxer and takes the front bar. She worked so hard to try and just straighten it back up.
Steps up here, coming out over the Oxer. It's going to be one of our slower 4 faulters. Probably falling outside the top 10.
Yeah, 66.20 is the time, and the cutoff sitting at 66.10, so a tenth of a second slower, and she will pop down into 12. So still picking up some prize money at this stage, but wouldn't make that all-important top 10 to return for the winning round. Not too many left. We've got 8 combinations left in this first round. Still some good ones to come. Joey Gatlin, Andy Coker comes back. John Perez has a second ride as well. But we're going to go to Carrie-Anne Boyce Lockhart next. And a 13-year-old gelding with really traditional lines that include Heartbreaker. It's a horse called Hopscotch. One of the 2 rides that she has at the moment. She's got this one. She's got Pharaoh DC as well. Combination that competed in this very competition here last year, finished 14th, so we now get a chance to see what a difference a year has made. He's been jumping this for 5 years now. Starting up with that good pace. So you're really concentrating down to that upright.
I want to get nice and straight and a good approach here to the triple bar.
Whoa, you could see that from about 3 or 4 strides out. I think she could maybe feel that as well.
Looks like she may be going to just take a nice courtesy jump, maybe jumping again, and just call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So jumps the first and uses that as her signal to the jury that she is going to elect to retire here today. So Carrie-Anne Boyce Lockhart representing the USA. 7 combinations left. 6 clears at this stage. Richard Spooner on a time fault also in the mix, alongside Michelle Parker on 4, John Perez on 4, and Robert Blanchette, the slowest that is making through, on 4 and 66.10. So that becomes the cutoff. Clear round so far from Richard Spooner in his first ride. Tina Yates, Jen Gates, Hunter Holloway, Jenny McAllister and Carl Cook. So that's the clears, and that's the rest of the top 10 that would go through to that winning round. I think we're going to see another couple of clears though. April Moses says, what a beautiful horse that last one. Again, if you are watching on Facebook Live, you can get involved with the conversation.
A lot of these horses must really look beautiful on Facebook.
All lovely. John Perez has got another one to come. Andy Coker, Taylor Siebel, Joey Gatlin as well.
See Ali Neil Farushin coming up. Andy Coker with one more.
Of course, don't forget as well that later on this afternoon we will be joining the action of the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Las Vegas. You can see the clears we've got at the moment though. Richard Spooner, Tina Yates, Jen Gates, Hunter Holloway, Jack Callister and Carl Cook. That's the 6 clears at this stage.
And there's Richard Spooner with his second horse sitting with a time fault. Michelle Parker, John Perez, and Robert Blanchette.
Sheila Fiesfeld says we're wonderful commentators.
Why, thank you.
We like you, Sheila.
We like you a lot.
It's great to have everybody joining us here on Facebook Live. Of course, FEI TV later on for that Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier. There's so many ways to watch here now, isn't there?
Yeah, and you can take a look. Look right at this line. That kind of has been the tough part of the course. The 2 combinations have, again, this line from the butterfly down to the triple. If you don't catch it just right, you better have a horse that's got some really good range and great rideability, like Richard Spooner's young horse that we just saw a few ago. He kind of had a little bit of a squirrely ride coming into the butterfly, but that horse has such range and rideability that he just curled right back, jumped through A to B, and had enough range to stretch out over C and made it look easy.
And when our riders are walking the course, they walk those lines, and they've managed to work out, with the horse they're riding, whether they need to sit back and wait or whether they need to maybe push for a longer one. But that plan can change depending on how you come out the corner and jump the upster, and I think that's why it's such a technical line. The whole thing is committed and related. Mark Grock then, back to get underway.
Had a good night the other night here in the Markel Series competition.
Logan show the 13-year-old. Really nice gelding. It's great to see him back in the Grand Prix ring as well. Had a little bit of time off, but now definitely back and making his mark. Just not today.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of knock-on effect from coming round off that double?
It got him. He came out of the turn going to the double just a little bit backed up, and then really couldn't get across the triple bar. And it looks like he's just going to jump the vertical at number 2 and call it a day.
Yeah, jumps the North American League upright. Cut off at the moment for the winning round. Those top 10 on 4 in 66.10. Was really forward on the distance there.
Yeah. Kind of got hung up a little on the triple bar and.
Alino Farushin next to go with Clarinet, the 10-year-old gelding by Clearway. He's had some great results here at this event over the years. He's won the World Cup here in the past. He's now getting into show management as well. Put on a great event earlier in the year.
Yep, they'll be coming with a number of events to Southern California in the 2018 season. It's represented Iran in the Olympic Games.
And for those that are coming at this stage in the order, they will have had a chance to watch a few. They do sit and watch, don't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, they've been out making their plan. You know, they go out maybe 5, 6 out, depending on how much their horse needs to get warmed up. Sometimes not too good to watch too much, because then you start second guessing yourself. Nice.
That's how to ride that line.
Yeah. Ollie didn't have the best night the other night, and he said, I promise you guys, I'll ride much better tomorrow. I'll do it better tomorrow.
Ooh, that was lucky. That was lucky. Sometimes you do need a bit of luck in the sport of show jumping as he comes round and he jumps that final fence, but he's over the time. 69.46, time allowed is 69 seconds. That's the second athlete to do that. He's the fastest of the one-time faults though, so he goes in 7th place. Richard Spinner's down to 8th. We've got Michelle Farker fastest to the 4 on 9th, and in 10th John Perez.
Watch him come back around here to the water tray. He got a little bit of a rub there. You saw him catch the front rail. Carefully rode here down to the plank. Yeah, I think after his performance the other night, he should be very happy. That was a great rebound.
Absolutely.
You know, and right now, if things maintain, he probably is sitting fine to make it into that top 10.
Certainly shouldn't go too far because we've only got about 4 or 5 left to come forwards. Catherine Gualtieri next with Castellano for the USA. Be new on the international circuit.
She rides a very long reins, but she's a very tall girl.
Shelley Steele watching on Facebook and says, enjoy the rest of them. She had to go back to work. Don't do it, Shelley.
Don't go back to work. Stay with us.
I think after watching a few, I think it just looked she maybe just overrode a little bit coming around that oxer off the corner.
Yeah, I mean, she is such a tall girl that there is...
Yeah, I think the sort of taller you are, the harder it is just to keep that kind of core strength and natural balance through your upper body.
The body control and staying out of the horse's way. I mean, that as a tall rider, that is the hardest thing to do.
I wouldn't know. I'm only short.
True.
Have to watch his time allowed as well. Certainly steadied up around the corners, but just inside, so finishes on 8 faults. 68.58 is the time there. Gosh, not good enough to make that cut off. 6 clears, 2 one-time faults, and 2 4-faulters making up the top 10 at this stage.
Coming out of the corner, we see she take back. Just gets in a hair deep, could not get the front legs up. This line ride so precise from the butterfly to the triple bar. They're all trying to get there on that perfect stride, and maybe get in a little deep to make that line ride a little bit easier when they land over 5, to make 5 to 6A ride easier, and it's kind of not working out for a lot of them.
Well, after Shelley saying she had to go back to work, Hannah has got our work ethic because she's watching from work.
There you go.
Well, we get down to the final few. While we're waiting for the next one, just a quick recap of who's heading through at the moment. Richard Spinner safely through a clear. Tina Yates, Jen Gates, Hunter Holloway, Jenny McAllister, and Carl Cook. So that's the 6 clears that we have. So then we make up the rest of the top 10 by looking at the best of the faults, and it is Ali No Farushan who sits on the fastest of our one-time fault rounds. Richard Spinner's on a time fault as well, slightly steadier. And then we've got Michelle Parker, fastest of the 4 faulters in 9th, and John Perez in 10th. Again, this winning round format means they will come back in reverse order. So say that was it, the job was done, then John Perez on the 4 faults would be our first to go. But the interesting thing is he would come back on a clean slate. So if anyone does come through on penalties to make up the top 10, then that will be wiped away. And it's anyone's win.
Should be an exciting jump off round. And that line of 5 to 6 A, B, C is in the jump off.
And when they're going against the clock, the faster you go, the tougher it gets.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting one. Nicole's also watching at work, which is good. We don't mind where you watch. If you get sacked, it's not our fault, okay? Tara West says, I'm not short, just vertically challenged.
Well, so she's kind of like you.
Yes, absolutely.
Just think Game of Thrones.
Good things.
If you're wondering how tall Adam is, think Game of Thrones. Tyrion Lannister.
Good things come in small packages. Some of the best riders are only 5'2". I'm a little bit bigger than that.
Okay, 5'2 and a half. It's okay.
Andy Coca then comes back with another one. Gucci Demuse.
Adam's just tall enough to be able to rent the rides at the amusement park.
Just see over the desk. Best of luck there to Andy, because he had some bad luck with the first one. Just getting established, just organising himself.
Andy's still looking for the... hasn't had... And it's not often that Andy does not have a great show, but this week things are not going 100% for him, so... See how he regroups now for the rest of this competition. Usually you can't keep Andy out of the ribbons for very long, though.
Kim Lyons Mitchell's driving to Kansas watching, but she does point out that she is only a passenger.
Well, that's good.
Kimber Lorber says that he's only 5'2" as well. Glad he's not the only male hobbit. Hate to break it to you, Kimber, I'm actually about 5'10", just shorter than Oliver. He got a little bit deep coming in there, and I think that's had a knock-on effect all the way down that line.
Yep, same thing that happened on his last horse.
Once it flattens out, it's very difficult.
See how if Andy keeps going on, he's going to keep going. This has not been Andy's week. But there's always tonight.
Yeah, he'll definitely have one in the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Las Vegas, which has the longest class title in the world. He comes around though, jumps that final fence, but it will be a total of 22 today. 74, 45, and finishes on 22. Just not his day with the 2 rides that he brings forward into this winning round competition.
We watch as he comes around from 5 up to fence number 5 here. Takes the front rail of 5. And then the sticks start going.
I think that line you could describe as a domino effect, because if you hit the first one or have an issue there, then it's so difficult to recover. Cut-off remains on 4 faults at 63.11. Better than that at the moment would get you through. Couple left though. John Perez coming back with his second ride. This one, a 16-year-old mare called Utopia.
It's probably the horse that he knows the best out of his whole string.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's done some great things with this one. I don't want to jinx him by saying I think this will go clear, so I won't, but I do.
Is that like a disclaimer, so you really didn't say it?
Absolutely. This is a horse that's he's had for a few years. He took to the World Cup finals in 2011.
He's kind of attacking it going forward. I think he's wanting to make sure that if he does have a rail, he stays in that. Oh, is he going to get out? Come on. He was kind of riding, looked like he was hoping if he got a rail he was going to be a fast 4, but again, that's part of the strategy of this winning round competition.
Yep. Part of the test, changes all the questions on the course as soon as you start to add a little bit of speed. You know, as we said, he's had that horse a while, it's been to World Cup finals, doesn't need the experience, so after taking a couple down, decides enough is enough.
Gets in just too deep to get up over B. That 4 track he was taking down that line wasn't going to work.
Sandra Lee says, it's wonderful, so's the horse, it's just a rough go. And I think that's fair because we've seen him do so much with that in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair to a lot of these riders out here on the West Coast, they do not show indoors a lot.
No.
Just a couple times a year. So these horses are all just coming off, or a lot of them are just coming off of showing out in Thermal at the Sunshine Series where it's in a bigger ring. And now they're coming in, and that makes everything come up that much faster, and the technical course ride that much harder.
Taylor Seville now with Fellini, Buy for Pleasure, and represents the USA.
Taylor did well in our U25 championship here for the Interactive Mortgage Series yesterday.
Carla Johnson says faster can make mistakes, and I think that was a shorter way of saying what you just said, Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Erin says, are you two doing the commentary tonight? You're great. Thanks. And yeah, we'll be here for the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Las Vegas.
Say that 3 times fast.
Well, we're going to have to later.
That's true.
That's the line, though.
Step it up, step it up. And I guess push.
And that's how to recover.
Yeah.
So now we look to the 4 fault rounds. 60-82 is the fastest of the 4. And there's 2 4 faulters still in the top 10. So this is where she just needs to keep this nice forward momentum, think about the time, try and leave the fences up all at the same time.
Just be neat, efficient, not too crazy coming down through here. Watch the plank. And as Adam would say, now she has to push through the last line.
But not push through it. It's 8 faults in total, 65-43. So let's look at the time. Time wasn't fast enough anyway, even if she'd finished on the 4. So I'm not sure if that's good news or bad news. But either way, she gives that horse a huge pat. Lovely horse, and just a little bit unlucky today. All clears, 2 on 1 fault and 2 on 4, making up the top 10. We have, I think, just confirmed, in fact, that she was our last rider coming forwards here in the first round of this winning round format. She was our last to go. Course designing team now jumping into action as they get us set for the winning round. Now, if you've not watched a winning round before, it's a little bit like a jump off because they're going to be going a bit faster and they're going to be looking for the turns. And we can see on the screen there those that are going to feature. Richard Spooner with Arfazar on a clear. Tina Yates with Durango VDL. We've got Jen Gates, Hunter Holloway, Jenny McAllister, Carl Cook, Alino Ferruccian, and Richard Spooner. Also in that top 10 is Michelle Parker and John Perez. So that's the results from the first round, but they're going to be coming back in reverse order of merit. So that means it will be John Perez who will be first to go, and then we'll go to Michelle Parker, the 2 on a time fault, and then all the clears based on their speed. You can see some riders who've been doing very well recently, like Jenny McAllister, Vanny Koshla, just being a little bit unlucky today. And also rounding up there with John Perez and Mark Brock towards the bottom. A few just calling it a day and retiring. So when we come back for that winning round, it will be the top 10, and they will be coming back in reverse order of merit. Those that come through on faults will be given a 0 scorecard. So it's a level playing field, And again, we'll go over the rules and flow just before we start. But the only other difference when we come back for the winning round is the way we work out time faults in the first round is 1 for every commence 4 seconds. In a jump off, that would normally change to 1 fault for every commence second. In a winning round, it doesn't. It stays as 1 for every 4 or part of 4 second blocks. So we'll recap the rules and we'll take a look at the start list for the jump off in just a few moments time. We'll take a quick breath, we'll let our course designing team do what they have to do, but do stay with us, do not go far, because we'll be back with the winning rounds and find out who we'll be crowning as our winner. Well, final preparations underway. Welcome back. It is the Las Vegas National Winning Round Jumper Classic presented by Park Place Foundation. $50,000 in the prize funds. Top 10 from the first round coming back. Let's take a look at the starting order. So we start with those that join us who had 4 faults in the first round. Back on a 0 score though, John Perez, Michelle Parker. Then Richard Spooner, Ali No Farushin, who both had a single time fault. Then to the clears based on their time. Slowest clear was Carl Cook, Jenny McAllister, Hunter Holloway, Jen Gates, and then towards the end we're going to have Tina Yates. The fastest clear in the first round was Richard Spooner. That means he comes back in pole position. He comes back in last to go, knowing what needs to be done, and I think that's going to add a little bit of pressure on for our athletes. Oscar Sorabin, our course designer, level 3 from Mexico. What an amazing job he did in the first round. In this one, it's 8 obstacles, 9 jumping efforts, and a time allowed of 60 seconds. Now we're coming back for a winning round. For those that aren't familiar, it's pretty much like a jump off. It's against the clock. They're going to be looking for the turns. They're going to be pushing forwards to try and get the fastest time with the lowest number of faults. Really, other than the starting order, the only difference is the way time faults are accumulated. So it will remain as 1 for every 4 or part of 4 seconds that are commenced. In a jump off, it would be 1 for 1. So really, that's the only difference. If you had to pick one, Oliver, who would it be?
You know, I think Richard on the first horse, he was so fast the other night, and the horse is so careful, and I think after what he saw the other night, I think he might take a shot on that one, knowing that he has the other horse coming back at the end. I mean, I think, for me, I'm taking the safe bet.
Okay, you're going for the safe one for Richard. Who would I go for?
Well, hurry up and pick.
It's a tough choice. You can't rush these things. I think Hunter Holloway's in with a chance, but that's only an 8-year-old. That's going to be the interesting thing. You know, how much can you push an 8-year-old, and how much would you want to push an 8-year-old in a competition like this? Jen
Gates has been doing very well with Alex. You know, that horse is she's starting to know him more and more and more, jumping a lot of clear rounds, and now she's having to jump in the jump offs. We'll see what that pairing and how well they are knowing each other now, because she's going to be taking a bit more of a shot on the horse tonight, I'm sure.
And it would also be a good story if someone like John Perez could come in, who had 4 faults in the first round, but because of this format comes back in a 0 score, comes in and wins it. That's the interesting thing about a winning round format.
And it's kind of a wide open track. There's a lot of areas for a fast horse, but there's a lot of places where a scopy horse like Alex and like Richard Scurado can just roll back and just turn and really fire off the ground if they want a shot. So there's some places for them to run and some places to test the scope.
Well, if you are watching on Facebook Live, let us know who you think is going to be victorious in this one. We've got John Perez, Michelle Parker, Richard Spooner with 2 rights, Al Farushin, Carl Cook, Jenny McAllister, Hunter Holloway, Jen Gates, and Tina Yates in there as well. Someone's asking, are the plant real?
Most of them.
Most of them. Some are fake, some are real. That'll keep you guessing.
But they're all pretty.
They're all pretty. It's a lady called Flora, who's actually a FEI level 3 judge, but Relive business, she also does flowers, and she's done it not only all over North America, but she also went out to Hong Kong Olympics.
Worked on the team that decorated the Olympics in Brazil as well.
And quite a lot of work goes into this, you know, a bit like the ring crew. They're here from early in the morning, first thing, right to late at night. It's not a job we could do, we're far too lazy. That's why we're up here. Another quick reminder as well, later on here we will be seeing the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping Qualifier of Las Vegas. We've got some great names coming forward, and interesting this year at this event, Oliver. I mean, we're on the West Coast, but I think we've got more East Coast riders here than ever before.
This is probably since we've been coming out here, this is the biggest group of the East Coast riders, a large group of them all. Put them on a plane and flew them out here from right out to McCarran Airport from Wellington, and came out just for this event.
Well, various people getting their guesses in on who they think is going to be victorious in this one. The favourite coming in, though, is Richard Spooner. That's a safe bet, isn't it?
I think it's a safe bet. Corrado is a young horse, but I mean, and Richard with 2 shots. But which horse are they picking Richard on? That's the question.
I would choose Arthur's R. That's the 12-year-old. The other one he's got is just an 8-year-old, so Arthur's a little bit more experienced. But Katie Van Aslen says the young guns 1, 2, 3, because we do have some young riders coming in this one as well. Really is wide open, and we are just about to get underway with this winning rounds here. The Las Vegas National Jumper Classic. They're coming back in reverse order of merit, so Richard Spooner was the fastest clear from round 1, and that has earned him the place as our pole position, our last to go.
Well, as we said, that there is a new route now for the jump off. It is a total course. They're going to go 9 jumping efforts, 8 numbered jumps. So there's the 1 combination in there. What was the triple, the B and C element now are becoming a double combination. And we'll give you a run around that course, and as soon as we see that first entry heading up to the gate.
For those that have got eagle eyes and have been paying attention, you may have noticed in the first round there was actually 2 sets of numbers on course. There was a red set and a black set, and that's because in the winning round format our athletes don't get to come back and walk the new course, so they get a chance to inspect that as they're doing that initial course walk. The lines have changed, and I'm sure they'll have been back to have a little nosy from the in-gate as well, just to remind themselves of that new track. So essentially the same fences out there, but just in a different order.
Park Place Foundation, again, presenting this competition today for our international riders. Again, thanks for their great sponsorship of this event.
Our first one just making their way down from the warm-up. Really nice warm-up arena here, actually. Plenty of space out there backstage, and it's really deceptive, this venue, because you come in through the hotel reception, you walk through a casino, there's a bowling alley, a 16-screen cinema, various restaurants and bars, and eventually, if you keep walking, you come into this huge equestrian centre that has over 1,000 indoor stables. It's an amazing facility. Well, we are ready to get underway. We see our first combination coming forward.
Michelle Parker's moving up.
She is. She's elected to move up the draw, and she brings back this 10-year-old gelding by Valentino called Vancouver. She represents the USA. She's going to be our pathfinder. Find out what's happened with John Perez. She's elected to move up the order and get us underway. And I'm sure, as this is a slightly new track, they will be using that 45 seconds and using this time that she has just now just to remind herself of this new course for the winning round format. Having a look at a couple of the turns, because essentially they are going to be riding this as if it was a jump off. It's only the starting order and the time faults that are different.
Well, the one thing that they want to do is that they're going to practice some turns that they may think they want to do an inside turn, make sure that they ride that horse, that inside track that they're taking, so they know, hey, when we're coming, we're actually coming in to go to this fence. Michelle winds up, and she's going to head. The first jump on this track is going to be what was fence number 2 in the first round. It is now renumbered to number 1 for this course. It's the North American League jump.
Good turn here.
Cuts inside as she gallops up to number 2, the red brick pillars and Oxer. Now it's a tight rollback turn to vertical.
Go on, get up there.
Now they're
Nice.
going to wide nice and direct, straight line, not put that bow in it as they head up to number 5, the white vertical. Now it's a race around, one of these places where they can really make up some time as they gallop up to the Longines Oxer. Rollback turn, and the Scopy horse, if they're going to do it, they're going to take a real shot here. That's one of the places they can win.
This is good.
And now it's another chance at the inside turn coming back inside of 4 as they head to Oxer number 5. They're going to really have to slice it. And she does. One jump to go as they gallop up to the guitars. Quick ride.
Lucky. That was lucky. Did you see her have that rub at the last fence? Well, that is going to add some pressure there. It is 45.91, and it is clear for our first to go, Michelle Parker and Vancouver. She says, catch me if you can. She got some really nice tight rollbacks, some nice turns, sliced across that Oxer as well. And as she landed over at the Longines fence on the long side, now she landed there in 25 seconds. So that will give us a bit of a time check. So that's laid down a challenge. 45.91 becomes the time to beat, and this is the horse that I absolutely love. If you were with us In the first round of the competition, you'll have heard us mention, it goes in a plain snaffle bridle. Richard Spooner sits so quietly, just leaves the horse alone just to do its job, and it's one that he's started to build so much trust with, which means when they go against the clock, he can place it pretty much anywhere, and it will jump. It's first of 2 rides. It is Richard Spooner for the USA with Curado RC, and it's hard to believe, Oliver, this one just an 8-year-old.
Well, and the fact that it is 18 hands, it is a big horse, but it rides like a little horse. It rides very light. It has a very good mouth, does not ride like a big horse, not heavy at all, and it has a ton of scope. So he can, I think he's really going to take a shot with this one. He was really fast the other night in the competition that he won, and this one is my pick.
Okay. That's him jinxed. Well, let's see what he can do.
Now look at this. He takes a little different track. He slices number 1 a little bit tighter, gallops up. Again, a little bit tighter than Michelle's track.
He's always known for going quick now. As we come around this corner to the Longines, he wants to be there in 25 seconds or better. This is powering.
This is where his horse has a little bit of an advantage. At 18 hands,
he's up.
He's got a huge step.
Well, this is about a second faster at the moment as he comes back round towards this double. Upright in, Oxer out, then push round the corner and don't fall over.
Gets another inside. He does the double inside cut here to this one. That little bobble probably cost him. He lost his forward motion, never really regained the power that he needed, but he comes home on 4.
Yeah, 45.18 is the time, so it is a faster time. He was a second faster. He landed over that Longines. And as Oliver said, he had a little bobble, was it?
Yeah, a little bobble. Yeah, when he went to make that inside turn, and that's like turning a tractor trailer with an 18-hand horse inside of that jump. And this is a young one. So, I mean, I don't know if he's really taken a shot like that before, but after the way it went the other night, I think he's really got to be happy with the way this horse is. I think he's set this horse up for a brilliant 2018 season.
He's so excited about that horse, and of course, the bigger they are, the longer they take to grow into those dangly legs as well. Alino Fruition comes forward next with Clarinus, the 10-year-old by Clearway. We know the time to beat, 45.91, landing over that Longines so that we can see in the back there in 25 seconds or better.
Well, let's see. Ollie said he was going to do better than he did the other night. He got into the jump off tonight, or this afternoon as we should say, for those of you here out on the West Coast with us.
Depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as fast. He's not too far away though, but just needs to make up a little bit of pace as he lands there about a second slower than Michelle. Again, different horses, all at different stages.
So he goes around one, but he's going to go around all the way, not taking either of the 2 inside options, coming back here to the second to last jump. Going for the clear ride today, Ollie.
Jumps the last, jumps a very nice round, and you know, compared to the round we saw him jump the other day, he's going to be super happy with that. 49.68 is the time, slips into second place, and even a steadier clear today, still going to give him a very good placing and a very good ribbon.
Yeah.
Carl Cook, Jenny McAllister, Hunter Holloway, Jen Gates, Tina Yates, and Richard Spooner, all still to feature. This is far from over, but Michelle Parker leads the way at the moment, 45.91, still a challenge and still the time to beat.
Yeah, and the one thing that Richard has that's now an advantage over everybody else, he's already ridden the track once, so he knows how that inside turns, and if he can try that double inside cut again.
There's that picture again. It is Carl Cook that joins us for the United States of America with this 10-year-old gelding, I Casal. Let's see what he's going to do today.
He kind of takes the same slice at number 1 that Richard Spooner did. Riding the same inside track, even probably a little tighter than Richard did.
Yeah, that was really, really tidy round in that roll back.
Now here's where they open it up, the gallop. And they also are going to have to sit there and make this turn back. Sometimes you might want to get in a little tighter spot so you can land a little shallower and make that turn inside easier.
Well, he's about a second and a half up there as he lands out of the double.
All right, he goes on, doesn't take either of the options for the inside turn.
Just cover the ground now. Comes down towards this final oxer. 45.91. Time to beat as he pushes over the finish line. Slightly steadier today. 45.91.
They're tied.
They are tied.
On the exact time, 45.91.
With only this number coming through, it's not often that happens in a winning round format, but Carl Cook has the same time as Michelle Parker. Looked a little bit steadier as he was coming down the final line, but in fact an identical time. And we have joint leaders here in the $50,000 Las Vegas National Winning Round Jumper Classic.
Now, he took the time. He did not do that inside turn that back to number 7, but what he did do is he took a sharper turn coming from 1 to 2, and he really turned back on number 3 much tighter than Michelle did.
Different horses, different tactics, but have we seen our winner? 45.91 to beat, still 25 out of the Longines Oxer, as Jenny McAllister comes next with Sweet Chocolate EJ. We've already seen one 8-year-old in this class, that was Richard Spooner's. This one just an 8-year-old as well by Staccato. Very nice horse, some very nice breeding. Of course, an athlete that we've seen at the Longines FEI World Cup jumping finals in the past. Certainly got some good experience.
Now she takes the inside approach too.
Yeah, they've all got to now, I think.
Yeah.
That's a given now.
Going wider than either of, kind of on the turn, a little wider than Michelle Parker's went. And she winds up throwing herself out, so she's not going to get as direct a ride. Takes more steps here from 3 to 4.
Does cover the ground, this horse, though, and has kept that nice forward momentum.
She goes inside of 1, coming back to the Longines Oxer. A little tighter turn back to 6A.
Got about half a second to make up as she lands here.
She tries to do the same turn that Richard did. Taking the inside from 6B inside of 1.
Just didn't quite make up that time. She jumps to clear, though. It's 48.94. Slots into 3rd place behind our joint leaders Michelle Parker and Carl Cook. So Jay McAllister now, Sweet Chocolate, into 3rd place. 4 combinations left to come forwards here. We've still got Richard Spooner, we've still got Tina Yates, we've still got Jen Gates, and now we are about to go to an athlete who has been on fire. We saw her do so well at the Washington International Horse Show, winner of the Maclays last year. And you know, this is a great competition because not only have we seen some very experienced combinations and experienced horses, but also some really nice young ones as well. And this one's an 8-year-old by Lexicon called Eastern Jam, and you could see Hunter just having a look at that rollback turn there from 2 to 3.
And she's only 19 years old, but she has been riding in the Grand Prix since she was 12.
I just wish my legs were as long as hers. Super turn inside there.
She's coming on a more forward step than everybody else has come. She gets the inside, nice turn back.
Up, good.
Now she winds up going around 1.
This is up though, this is quicker.
I think going around 1 is quicker routine.
Lands on 23, 2 seconds faster because she can keep this forward momentum and turn.
Up. I think she was thinking about maybe doing that inside turn there of inside 1.
To do that, you've really got to be thinking about almost turning through the air.
Yeah.
Perhaps just anticipated that. But coming round to the last finish, she's on the 4 faults and a time of 46.17. Time that was good enough for 3rd place, but drops her down 3 into 6th with 3 left to come. But for just an 8-year-old and still, you know, learning the ring skills and how to turn and keep moving forward at the same time, she can't be too disappointed. Michelle Parker, Carl Cook, joint leaders here. Jenny McAllister in third place. It is Ellie Novorushin in fourth. Richard Spinner, fastest of the four falters, in fifth. Sir Holloway in sixth place. Jen Gates is next. The 13-year-old gelding called Alex represents the USA. You can see her just reminding herself of that turn. As we mentioned earlier, you know, in a winning round, it is a different track, so then the jumps have got two numbers on them when they walk the initial course, and they get to have a look at the winning round course, but they don't get to walk it. She's setting off already, though, and we can see she's going to start at a good pace.
She's really getting to know this horse. And she really had to take a shot at Kentucky, so let's see what she does here. Nice tight turn back.
Really careful through the front end.
Now she widens it up, opens that stride.
Powers on and lands in about 23.5 seconds, so she is quicker. She comes back round to this double. Nice. Goes outside. She's
going outside, not taking either of the inside turns. She's just coming out 7 and a good lick.
Still moving forward. 45.91 time to beat as she jumps the last fence. It is 45.27. It's the youngest rider in the field today that goes straight up to the top. That big smile, a little fist bump says it all. Jen Gates and Alex, brand new leader here with just 2 combinations left to go.
You know, they are really becoming a tough combination to beat.
Really coming together and gaining some great experience in the European circuit as part of the Longines Global Champions Tour. But she is going to be biting her nails, because not only has she got this next rider to come, but she's also got Richard Spinner and a 12-year-old horse called Arthasar still to feature. But we can see on screen there our leaderboard as it stands. Jen Gates and then Michelle Parker and Carl Cook in second now, with Jenny McAllister fourth, Alino Farushin fifth, and Richard Spinner in sixth. Here's Tina Yates, second last to go, with Durango VDL. This is a 9-year-old stallion by VDL Zorocco Blue.
Whoa, she really took a tight turn coming to 1.
It's a little bit of hang time over the Oxus.
Yeah, put her out, just made her land a little further out than Jen did.
We're about 23.5 seconds now as we land out of this Longines Oxer, and it comes down. Got a nice powerful back end.
Yeah, 1 jump to go on 4.
Fast 4 faults could put her into 6th place, but let's have a look. It is 4 faults and 48.12. So she is actually the steadiest of the 3 that we have on 4 faults, and that slips her down into 8th place.
Well, Jen Gates has got 1 more to dodge here as Richard Spooner and Arthasar comes in.
It's not just anyone though, is it? That's the thing. She'll either be watching on or she'll be hiding somewhere. I'm not sure what she's going to do, but it's not over.
We got one of the fastest riders in the world following her.
Yeah, it's never easy. 45.27 then, that's the challenge. It is the time to beat, and this is the last to go. It's Richard Spooner, Arthasar for the USA. It's the 12-year-old stallion by Nim Lassar. He's not here to make up the numbers. He's already had a chance to look round as well with Corrado RC, his young 8-year-old grey that we saw earlier on.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if he's going to try and do that inside turn that he tried from after 6B, going inside in number 1.
He's in the best position. He goes last to go. He's already had a look round on 1 horse. Jen must be so nervous. Nice and tight here. Again, Jen is about 23.5 out of the Longines Oxer.
Inside track again as he gallops now, goes into the gallop to the Longines Oxer.
Don't know if he's quite close enough, maybe about half a second slower. But there's a long way to go, isn't there?
Oh, he's a little tighter coming back into 6A. And he's trying the inside turn again.
They're neck and neck here. as we come round towards the
Nice.
final.
This time he has to get over this oxer.
Now go.
Oh. Push.
He's got to push on round to the last. 45-27, jumps the final fence.
He does it.
44-39. Richard Spooner, RFSR, he takes another win here at the Las Vegas National. What a wonderful week he's had. And you know, he is building up some strength.
There you go.
The signature move at the end there.
Yep.
Big Pat's horse cookie for the horse. Well, what an amazing competition. I really thought Jen Gates had done it, you know.
I mean, you know, she is going to be really tough in the any class she's in on any of her horses next year. But Alex is a great pairing between Jen and that horse.
Richard Spooner has so much experience. I think he's been to something like 13 World Cup finals. He's produced so many horses over the years.
And he manages horses well. They've all had, you know, Cristallo is old now. Robinson went way up into the upper years of his career and was a winner all the way through. You know, he manages his horses very well and does an amazing job.
Well, let's take a look at that full results, and we have confirmed Richard Spooner and RFSR declared our West here. They were clear in 44-39. You can see Jen Gates and Alex just behind there on 45-27. And then Michelle Parker in Vancouver finishing in joint third alongside Carl Cook, who both finished clear in 45-9-1. Jenny McAllister fifth with Elino Ferrugian in sixth. We've got Richard Spooner and his 8-year-old Grey in seventh, and Hunter Holloway in 8th place. Rounding off the top 10, Tina Yates and Durango VDL. John Perez finishes in 10th place. Having a look at the lower placings now, but of course our attention very much starting to turn towards the Longines FEI World Cup jumping qualifier of Las Vegas. And that comes up here later on this afternoon, and of course that's one that they're all thinking about because they're looking for those points to try and qualify for the Longines FEI World Cup jumping final, which takes place in Paris next year. But it's been a great event here over the last few days. It's been a fantastic competition here this afternoon as well. Ivan Cromarty sitting alongside Oliver Kennedy. Do join us later on for that World Cup qualifier, but for now we hand you back over to the arena commentator as they get ready for the presentation of awards.